Welcome to Season 8 of the Finding Peace podcast. This season is focused on practical, trauma-informed tools you can use in everyday life. When emotions run high, relationships feel heavy, or your nervous system needs support. Short episodes designed to help you find more peace, joy, and connection, one moment at a time. Please welcome the host of the Finding Peace podcast, best-selling author, psychotherapist, and speaker, Troy L. Love.
There was a season in my life where I was deeply confused about who I was at my core. And when I say season, I mean pretty much the majority of my life. From the outside, my life looked intact. I was functioning, I was showing up, I was doing my job, and I was helping clients and learning things. But internally, something did not line up. There was a huge part of me that felt uncertain, unsettled. I didn't even really recognize myself, and more importantly, I did not like myself. And I didn't want anyone to know that either. I didn't feel safe letting anyone know. So, what did I do? I adapted. I leaned into roles that seemed to make sense. I showed up in ways that I perceived would be acceptable. I became who I thought other people wanted me to be. So I wouldn't lose connection. I wouldn't be questioned. And I wouldn't be exposed. And from the outside, it worked. But on the inside, there was this quiet, persistent question. If I stop performing, what's actually there? And I didn't know the answer. That's what identity confusion feels like. It's not dramatic. It's not chaotic. It's just quietly disorienting. And honestly, that may be part of why I loved theater so much. Because when I was on stage, I didn't have to be me for a while. I got to be someone else, someone clearer, someone more defined, someone whose lines were already written, someone whose role made sense. And when I hate myself or I feel confused about who I am, there is something incredibly relieving about being able to be someone else for a little while, because I didn't have to wrestle with my own uncertainty. I could borrow someone else's identity. I could wear someone else's skin. I could disappear into a role, put on a costume, and become someone else, and feel less trapped by my own confusion. Now, I want to be really clear. The theater was an outlet for me. It wasn't a solution. It gave me expression. It gave me belonging. It gave me a place to feel alive. But it also gave me a break from having to be myself. And maybe that's the deeper ache of identity confusion. Not that we have no self, but that we learn to survive through being a role. And honestly, this is what trauma does. It doesn't just affect how we feel. It shapes who we believe we are allowed to be. When survival comes first, authenticity comes last. We don't get to ask, who am I? Instead, we learn to ask what keeps us safe, what keeps us feeling loved, what will prevent us from being rejected. And the answers to those questions become our identity. Let me tell you about a man. Let's call him Jason. Jason was the kind of partner everyone praised. Easygoing, good-looking, supportive, low maintenance. And in every relationship, he became exactly what the other person needed him to be. If they were anxious, he became calm. If they were distant, he became accommodating. If they were critical, he tried harder. And for years, he told himself, this is just who I am. I am a good partner. Until one day, after yet another relationship ended, he sat in his car and thought, what do I even like? Not what do they like, not what should I like, but what do I actually like? What do I like to eat? What do I like to do for fun? What do I like to do to relax? And he didn't have an answer. That moment, that's identity confusion. And when we look closely at Jason's story, we can see the shadows clearly. The politician constantly adapting to fit the relationship, the martyr telling him to give up pieces of himself to maintain connection, and the judge quietly enforcing, you got to be better, you need to try harder, don't mess this up. And over time, Jason didn't discover who he was, he managed who he was. These shadows of shame show up to manage our pain, and the key component to understand is that they are not us. They show up at critical points in our development to help us survive the pain. The martyr says, if you take care of everyone else, maybe you'll be okay. And so, if we go along with what the martyr teaches, we will overgive, we will overfunction, and we will lose connection with our own personal needs because the martyr tells us that our needs don't matter. The politician says, you become whoever you need to be in order to be accepted and liked. And when we listen to the politician, we learn how to read a room. We learn how to adapt our identity. We learn what to do to avoid conflict by appeasing and going along with and hiding parts of ourselves. When the judge shows up, it says, if you can get yourself right, you will never hurt again. And the way that the judge does that is by judgment, obviously. And if we go along with what the judge teaches, there is a lot of self-criticism that we experience. We strive to be perfect in every way. And one of our favorite words is should. But here's the truth I want you to hear. Identity emerges in safety, not pressure. You don't find yourself by forcing clarity. We discover ourselves when our nervous system no longer has to perform for survival. Our nervous system made a decision a long time ago. It's safer to be who other people need us to be than to risk being rejected for who I am. And for me, that decision seemed to work, at least initially. It preserved connection, a sense of belonging, attachment, and the avoidance of attachment wounds being hit. But now, as I look back, I realized it cost me my sense of self, and it cost Jason his sense of self. Healing isn't about rejecting who I become. It's about understanding why I am the version of myself that I am. So I want to invite you to slow down for a moment. Just get curious, breathe, put your feet on the ground, and ask yourself, who do I have to be in order to stay safe? Do I become the easy one, the achiever, the invisible one, the caretaker? Which shadows of shame end up hijacking me when there's a sense of possible rejection, abandonment, neglect, abuse, loss? And how often do I go along with the messages that they say? And then I want you to ask a question. Who might I become if they weren't pulling the strings? Who might I become if I am not as afraid to be me and to let other people see me? Now, that is a really tough question, and it's a journey that I am still on. Because when I'm vulnerable, there's risk. What if this person doesn't like me? What if this person rejects me? What if this person leaves me? But as I lean into this question of who am I? And what do I want? And what do I like? And what do I enjoy? And I start to honor that, I find out that there's a lot of people who actually like those things too. And there's people who like me even though they don't like those things. And there are also those who don't like me for whatever reason at all. And I realize that that's okay too. Because as I learn to love me and accept me for me without putting on a mask or pretending to be somebody else, but I learn to love me for who I am and give myself permission to say that I don't like mushrooms on pizza. I don't like mushrooms at all. I don't like pineapple on pizza. I don't like mushrooms at all. I don't like seafood. And I don't like olives. And that's okay. And I don't have to pretend that I do. And if somebody thinks it's weird that I don't like those things, that's okay. But I get to be me and express what I like and what I don't like. And I also give space for them to express what they like and they don't like. It's beautiful. Because when I do that, I connect with my true self. And I've learned as I've walked along this finding peace journey that my true self wasn't missing, it wasn't broken, and it wasn't gone. It was hiding under a huge pile of clothes that it was trying to use to protect itself. Protected by a nervous system that learned how to keep me safe in environments where being fully myself wasn't allowed. And now, as I learn about that and I take off the layers and I learn how to create safety in my life, internally and externally, my true self has started to come forward, gently, honestly, and in its own time. And I look in the mirror now and I look at my face and I wink at myself sometimes and I say, hey, I love you, man. I really do. And I was never able to do that before. And in working with Jason, he started to learn how to do that for himself as well. That's what I'm hoping for you. That you know that you're not lost, that you've been adapting to pain, and now you get the opportunity to disconnect yourself from those shadows of shame and step into your pure light, your pure truth, your amazing self. Because you are enough. And you matter. And you are worthy of being seen and loved for you. And I can't wait to see what emerges.
You've been listening to the Finding Peace podcast. Special thanks to Intrex for providing the theme music for this season and helping set the tone for reflection, grounding, and hope. If this episode supported you, please like, subscribe, and share the Finding Peace podcast. Your support helps these practical, trauma-informed tools reach more people who are seeking peace, clarity, and connection. To explore more resources, workshops, and upcoming events, visit findingpeaceconsulting.com. The Finding Peace podcast is hosted by best-selling author, psychotherapist, and speaker Troy L. Love. Until next time, remember, you are worthy of love and belonging.